Beloved chosen one, heaven has been holding its breath, waiting for this very moment when silence can no longer hide what's about to burst forth. The angels have been watching. Time itself has been turning toward this day. And now the voice of God says, "Enough. Speak it." You are not here by coincidence. You are standing on the edge of divine timing. Listen carefully. For this message is not coming from chance or algorithm. It is divine intervention. A whisper from eternity aimed directly at your soul. Every moment of waiting, every unanswered prayer, every night you wondered if heaven still remembered your name, God did not forget. He was preparing the atmosphere for what he will do this Saturday. A day already marked in heaven's calendar before you ever knew to expect it. You have cried. You have wrestled. You have stood in silence. But this is not a season of defeat. It is the dawn before the miracle. Heaven is saying, this one, this chosen one, cannot be hidden any longer. You have carried something sacred inside you, and it is now time for it to be revealed. This is not another ordinary day scrolling by. It is the moment that will define the next chapter of your life. And when God moves, he doesn't move softly. He shakes foundations. He reorders time. He makes the impossible bow to his voice. Look at your journey. You were misunderstood, rejected, even betrayed. Yet every rejection was a redirection. Every heartbreak carved out space for the miracle that's now rising. You've been through the shadows because you were never called to blend in with the crowd. You were called to shift the crowd, to bring light where others bring noise. The world may not have understood you, but heaven has been applauding you in silence, waiting for your obedience to collide with divine purpose. Chosen one. This message reaches you because you're being positioned. God can't keep silent about your miracle any longer. There's something he placed inside you that is about to break open. This Saturday is not random, it's prophetic. The very atmosphere of your surroundings will begin to respond. Opportunities, alignments, confirmations, they'll start to appear one after another. Not because you forced it, but because heaven released it. You've wondered why you've felt so much warfare lately, why you've felt isolated, misunderstood, drained, even spiritually attacked. It's because you're standing right before manifestation. The closer you get to the miracle, the louder the enemy becomes. But remember, noise is proof that you're near breakthrough. Do not back down now. The same pressure that feels unbearable is the exact force that births promise. And when the miracle arrives, it won't just bless you, it will shift those connected to you. You are a vessel through which light enters dark places. Heaven will use your voice, your hands, your testimony to ignite others who thought God had forgotten them. You are a carrier of divine revival. You are the answer to prayers you didn't even know others were praying. Take a deep breath and let these words settle. Heaven chose you for this exact hour. Your pain has a purpose. Your delay has design. And your name has been spoken in divine meetings. You are not late, you are right on time. Every tear, every moment you almost gave up, became fuel for this revelation. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5, "Weeping may last for the night, but joy comes in the morning." Your morning begins now. The night was long, but it was never permanent. The same God who watched you cry will now cause you to laugh in awe. You are entering the joy comes in the morning part of your story. and heaven itself rejoices because the silence is over. Heavenly currents are shifting in your favor. What was once closed will open, not by human hands but by divine decree. Doors that resisted you will now recognize the authority of your anointing. The oil on your life demands access, and the world will soon witness what heaven already declared over you. Even as you read these words, angelic movement surrounds you, assignments being executed, paths being cleared, hearts being softened. The same voice that spoke light into existence is speaking your name across realms. You are not forgotten. You are about to be revealed in glory that cannot be denied. So pause right now, don't scroll away. If this message resonates in your spirit, it's because heaven has confirmed it. Like this message as a prophetic act of agreement. Share it so the light spreads farther. Comment below the number 777, symbolizing divine completion and heavenly alignment. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel so you stay connected to every revelation God releases next, because this is only the beginning. You are chosen. You are marked. You are standing on sacred ground. And this Saturday, heaven will prove it. Chosen one, the waiting has never been wasted. Every pause, every delay, every unanswered prayer was not a denial, it was divine calibration. The weight you felt was not the absence of movement, but the presence of precision. God was aligning your steps with eternity's schedule, crafting moments so exact that even the smallest detail of your life would serve his purpose. You may have thought nothing was happening, but heaven was writing behind the scenes. There are seasons where silence is sacred, where heaven's quiet is not a punishment, but protection. You were hidden not because you were forgotten, but because you were being formed. You have been shaped in secret, refined under pressure, and trained in moments when no one was watching. The delay was divine disguise, heaven's way of ensuring that when you rise ready. You see, time in the kingdom doesn't move like time on earth. What feels late to you is right on schedule to God. While others rushed ahead, you were told to wait. And though it hurt, your waiting built endurance. You were learning trust, the kind of faith that can withstand storms without losing its flame. It's that kind of faith that moves heaven's hand. The weight of divine timing rests upon you now. You're stepping into the convergence point of everything that once felt scattered. What didn't make sense is about to reveal its order. The prayers you thought went unheard were being stored, like seeds beneath the soil, waiting for this exact atmosphere to bloom. God does not forget the faithful. The ground you've cried upon will soon yield fruit you can't contain. Chosen one, understand this truth. Not everything delayed is denied. God has been measuring your capacity, stretching your faith, ensuring you could carry what's coming without collapsing under the weight of it. You've grown stronger in silence than you realize. You've learned how to stand when nothing around you made sense. You've learned to trust a whisper more than an audience. And that trust, pure, refined, and unshakable, is what heaven rewards. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 29, verse 11. I know the plans I have for you, plans for hope and a future. These words are not ancient echoes, they are alive right now, vibrating through your timeline. You are living proof of divine strategy. Every closed door protected your promise. Every no preserved your destiny. Every delay positioned you for this very revelation. You were not meant to bloom in winter. You were destined to blossom in the warmth of God's appointed hour. You have been walking through divine choreography. Every heartbreak, every shift, every new beginning was ordered. You thought you were wandering, but you were being led. Even your moments of confusion were classrooms where heaven taught you resilience. Every lesson was shaping the leader within you, the light-bearer who would carry truth into the dark. It's time to stop seeing waiting as weakness. Waiting is warfare in disguise. It's the refusal to move without heaven's signal. It's choosing alignment over ambition. You've been in training for trust, and now that trust becomes your passport into promise. Look back for a moment. See how the puzzle pieces fit now, the opportunities that didn't work out, the friendships that fell apart, the doors that closed just before you walked through them. At the time, you thought it was loss, but now you can sense it. It was strategy. You were never behind. You were being built for something greater. God was not ignoring you. He was orchestrating a miracle that required precision. Like a composer tuning each instrument before the symphony begins, heaven was aligning every note of your story. Now the sound is ready to rise, the melody of destiny that carries your name in its rhythm. There's peace in knowing this. You don't have to chase what's divinely appointed. What's meant for you is already in motion. You don't have to compete for it, manipulate it, or beg for it. You only need to stay aligned, surrendered, listening for his voice. The moment he says now, everything will shift in a single breath. Chosen one, feel the weight of divine timing settle upon you like a crown. You've endured the silence, and now you'll witness the unfolding. Don't rush it, receive it. For what is coming will not just restore lost time, it will redeem it. Every moment of waiting will be returned with interest, multiplied in peace, favor, and revelation. The same God who called Abraham in his old age, who raised Joseph from prison to palace, who brought Esther from obscurity to influence, is the same God writing your name into the story of this generation. You are not an accident of timing. You are an embodiment of it. Heaven has been waiting for the hour your destiny collides with divine order. So breathe. Beloved, let go of the anxiety of the clock. Time is not your master, God is. And when he says the word, everything that has been delayed will accelerate. The world will see in a single moment what heaven has been building in silence for years. The noise of the world has grown so loud that many can no longer hear heaven's whisper. Yet somehow, through all the distractions, through the storms of voices and opinions, you still felt that nudge, the subtle pull that led you here. The voice that interrupts the chaos has found you again, and this time, it comes not to comfort, but to commission. Chosen one, God is speaking into your atmosphere with precision. You've tried to silence it, reason with it, delay it, but the divine call has a persistence that cannot be ignored. It follows you into your thoughts, your sleep, your solitude. Every time you try to move on, it whispers, "This is not over. I have more for you. You've been marked." And no amount of noise can unmark what heaven has claimed. You were not chosen because you were the loudest or the strongest. You were chosen because your spirit remained sensitive in a world gone numb. While others shouted to be heard, you learned to listen. And in that quiet obedience, God found room to speak. That's what terrifies the darkness, your stillness, your ability to discern the divine in the middle of the storm. There are moments when God speaks so softly that only those attuned to his frequency will hear. You have tuned your soul to that frequency, often without realizing it. The restlessness you feel, the spiritual tension, the inexplicable pull towards something greater, it's heaven's signal breaking through interference. The same voice that hovered over the waters in Genesis now hovers over your life, preparing to create where there has been only confusion. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 21, whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." That voice has never left you. Even in seasons when you felt abandoned, it whispered direction. It didn't shout, because shouting would have broken what silence was meant to heal. It simply spoke steady, calm, unchanging, and every time you obeyed that whisper, your steps aligned more closely with divine intention. You've been walking through storms not to destroy your hearing but to sharpen it. The chaos you survived has become your training ground in discernment. You now recognize the difference between distraction and destiny, between temptation and truth. You are learning how to distinguish the counterfeit call from the authentic one. But listen closely. Heaven is saying the time for hesitation is over. You cannot afford to delay obedience any longer. Every time you question what God already confirmed, you give darkness permission to whisper doubt. And doubt is a thief. It steals time, peace, and confidence. Yet faith takes what belongs to you and multiplies it. You have been called to be a voice in your own sphere of influence. The people around you may not see it yet, but your presence disrupts the atmosphere. When you enter a room, something shifts. That's not coincidence, that's calling. You are an amplifier of divine frequency, and the world is waiting for you to speak what heaven has deposited in you. Don't underestimate the power of one obedient voice. Moses was one voice that challenged Pharaoh. Esther was one voice that shifted a nation. Elijah was one voice that called down fire from heaven. You are one voice, chosen, purified, positioned, and when you release your words in obedience, creation will respond. The voice that interrupts the chaos is not meant to comfort you into silence, it's meant to awaken you into purpose. You are being asked to rise, to walk in faith, to release the message that's been growing in your spirit. Every time you obey, you push back darkness. Every time you speak truth, you establish light. Do not be afraid if others don't understand your urgency. They didn't hear what you heard. They weren't in the room when God spoke your name. You don't owe anyone an explanation for divine direction. You only owe obedience. Right now, as you read these words, heaven is activating a deeper awareness within you. You'll begin to notice patterns, nudges, confirmations, the right song, the right conversation, the right moment, all aligning to echo what God already told you. You are not imagining it. You are being guided by divine intelligence, and that guidance will not fail you. So take a breath. Chosen one, quiet your surroundings and listen again. The same voice that created worlds is now creating new beginnings within you. This is your confirmation that you are not walking alone. You are being divinely directed. Now, before you move to the next thing, take one small prophetic action. Type these words in the comments. I hear you. It's not just a phrase, it's a declaration. When you write it, You are agreeing with heaven's voice. You are saying, I will listen. I will obey. I will walk the path you've set. That agreement opens doors that silence cannot. The noise around you will soon fade, but the divine whisper will remain. Follow it, it is leading you to the miracle you cannot yet see. But heaven has already prepared. You have felt forgotten before, haven't you? Chosen one, the silence of heaven once felt unbearable. You watched others receive answers while you waited, wondering if God had somehow misplaced your name in the divine archives. But the truth is, you were never overlooked. You were hidden on purpose. God does not lose his chosen. He conceals them until the appointed moment. When you felt unseen, heaven was studying your heart. When you were passed over, God was passing by to protect what others could not understand. There are seasons when visibility would have destroyed you. If you had been elevated too soon, the weight of attention might have crushed what grace was still forming. So instead of exposure, he gave you preparation. Instead of applause, he gave you depth. Being hidden is not punishment, it's protection. You were hidden because your calling was too heavy to be mishandled. The silence you mistook for rejection was actually refinement. Every time the door stayed shut, heaven whispered, not yet. They're not ready for what you carry. And even when your tears fell in solitude, the heavens recorded each one. Your prayers didn't vanish into the air, they were stored in jars of remembrance, to be poured out at the exact moment of revelation. The God who counts the hairs on your head also counts the cries of your heart. None have been ignored. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. These words are not relics, they are reality. Every time you thought you were alone, he was standing just beyond what your eyes could perceive. Even in your lowest valley, divine presence wrapped around you like unseen armor. You are not abandoned, you are accompanied. The hidden season has always been sacred. It's where roots grow deep enough to support the branches of your future. You've learned to survive without applause, to pray without proof, to trust without evidence. Those who find faith in silence become unstoppable when heaven finally speaks. What you didn't realize was that every hidden moment was forming your authority. Every unseen battle strengthened your spirit. Every no taught you how to discern between counterfeit opportunities and divine appointments. God wasn't withholding your destiny. He was shaping your discernment to recognize it when it appeared. You see, when others looked past you, they didn't reject you, they rejected the part of God they couldn't yet perceive. You carry something ancient, something weighty, something not easily understood. That's why some left. That's why some stayed silent. And that's why certain doors closed. They were never meant to contain what's being released through you now. Heaven has been watching your endurance. The angels recorded every act of obedience that made no sense to those around you. Every time you chose faith over frustration, you built altars in the unseen realm. And now, those altars are about to speak. The smoke of your surrender is rising before God, as worship, and worship always calls for response. You were never invisible, you were incubated, like Moses in the basket, like Joseph in the prison, like David in the field. Your obscurity was the classroom of divine purpose. When God hides his chosen, he's not delaying destiny, he's preparing the stage. The day of revealing always follows the season of refining. Chosen one. The time of concealment is closing, the veil is thinning, and heaven is about to announce your name in rooms you've never entered, not because of ambition, but because of assignment. You are about to be remembered by divine timing. What once ignored you will soon seek you. Those who doubted you will witness the proof of what was whispered long ago. The favor coming next won't be something you chase, it will find you. It will locate you in the same places where you once felt forgotten. The people who once dismissed you will be unable to explain your sudden elevation, but you'll know it wasn't sudden. It was scheduled. So, lift your eyes. Chosen one. The hidden years are not wasted years. They are the foundation stones of everything you're about to carry. The silence has not been punishment, it has been prophecy. God was building patience in you, because what's coming will require it. He was strengthening your vision, because where He's leading you, distraction will be costly. You have not been forgotten, you've been preserved. Heaven has been guarding your timeline like a secret treasure, waiting for the perfect hour to unveil its brilliance. That hour is approaching. The whispers of your past will soon become the shouts of your breakthrough. There is a reason, chosen one, that heaven keeps speaking about this coming Saturday. It is not superstition. It is not a coincidence wrapped in poetic words. It is divine orchestration. There are moments in history where heaven and earth align in perfect rhythm, and this is one of those moments. The air around you has changed because the time of the Saturday seal of miracles is drawing near. You have felt it already, the shift in the unseen, the stirring in your spirit that tells you something sacred approaches. This isn't imagination, it's recognition. Your spirit is responding to heaven's countdown. Angels are marking coordinates, preparing the ground where divine power will meet obedience. This is why you've been restless, why you can't shake the feeling that something greater waits just beyond the horizon. Every miracle that ever manifested had a moment of instruction before it arrived. Noah had to build. Abraham had to believe. The widow had to pour her last drop of oil. Obedience is always the bridge between promise and power. You, chosen one, stand upon that same bridge now. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 26, "With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." That is the banner over this coming Saturday. What once seemed impossible will no longer resist manifestation. What was locked will unlock. What was delayed will accelerate. You will look at the same situation that once mocked your faith and see it bow to divine authority. The ordinary will host the extraordinary. Do not underestimate what one day can hold when heaven appoints it. It takes only a moment for God to reverse years of struggle. He does not need long seasons to prove himself. He needs willing hearts to respond. That's why you are being prepared not to wish, but to expect. This Saturday carries the fragrance of divine fulfillment. Chosen one. Remember this, miracles are not rewards for perfection, but results of positioning. When you align with heaven, you give God permission to invade your timeline. And alignment begins not with striving, but with surrender. Miracles don't come because we earn them. They come because we agree with the will of God already waiting to unfold. You have been faithful in the dry places, patient in the delays, steadfast when others quit. Heaven took note. Every yes you whispered in private became a seed. And now, the field is ready for harvest. Saturday is not coming to change who you are. It's coming to reveal who you've always been, a vessel of divine demonstration. There is a rhythm to heaven's timing, a sacred pulse that moves through creation. This week, that pulse grows louder around you. You may notice strange peace, unexpected favor, or even spiritual pressure, all signs that heaven is near. The miracle is not traveling toward you, it's rising within you. And when it manifests, remember, miracles are meant to multiply. What God does in you, He wants to do through you. The blessing is never meant to stop at your doorstep. It is meant to flow outward, touching everyone connected to your obedience. When you testify, others will find courage to believe again. When you shine, darkness loses ground. So, as you walk into this Saturday, walk with expectation, not anxiety. Let your heart be still and your faith be loud. The atmosphere will respond to your belief. The moment you decide to trust fully, you'll feel the spiritual air thicken heaven, preparing to perform what it promised. I want to speak to your heart, sincerely. If these words resonate, it means you've been hearing the same call, echoing in your spirit. Don't let it fade. Stay connected. Let's walk through this season together, step by step. As heaven reveals its miracles on earth, take a second gently, intentionally, to like this message, not for numbers, but as a sign of unity with what God is doing. Share it if your heart says someone else needs to hear what you've just heard. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, not as an act of following a page, but as a prophetic gesture of staying close to the flow of divine messages being released in this hour. We are building a space where faith meets revelation, where testimonies of heaven's power will echo week after week. This isn't about social platforms, it's about spiritual alignment. When we move together in unity, we strengthen each other's faith, and faith is the key that opens every sealed door. The Saturday seal is not coming, it's already here, forming in the unseen, waiting for your agreement. Heaven has pressed play. Get ready. Chosen one. You are about to witness what happens when God refuses to stay silent any longer. Chosen one. Something ancient is awakening in your spirit. You've felt it in your prayers, in your dreams, in the quiet moments when your heart beats faster for no reason you can explain. That's not anxiety, it's activation. The covenant awakens. What God promised generations ago is stirring in your bloodline, and heaven is ready to honor what it once spoke over your family name. For too long, you have carried the weight of battles you did not start, fighting patterns, cycles, and struggles that seemed older than you. Yet God says, this ends with you. The generational silence breaks here. The promise, once buried by disappointment, begins to breathe again. You are not repeating your ancestors' pain, you are redeeming their story. It was written in the scrolls of eternity before your birth that a day would come when one would rise from your lineage and say, no more delay, no more defeat. The curse is reversed. That one is you. You are the bridge between what was promised and what will manifest. Heaven has found in you a willing vessel, and the covenant that once slept now awakens through your obedience. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 5. Now, if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations you will be my treasured possession. You are that treasured possession. Heaven is not negotiating your value, it has already declared it. What's awakening in you is not just a blessing, but an inheritance. The prayers of your forefathers echo in your DNA, and the same fire that burned in prophets, warriors, and intercessors before you now reignites in your bones. There are promises you didn't even know were yours, gifts, callings, mantles that were temporarily dormant because the right heart had not yet arisen to carry them. But heaven has waited patiently. And now, at this divine juncture of time, you have been chosen to awaken what others buried. This is not coincidence, it's continuation. Do you feel it? The atmosphere is changing around you. Small confirmations begin to appear: songs, conversations, dreams, all pointing toward the same truth. The covenant is active again. It is rewriting the script of your life. Where there was loss, restoration is being drafted. Where there was failure, new grace is being signed into law. This is why you've been under so much pressure lately. The enemy always fights hardest when heaven is about to fulfill a promise. You were never being punished, you were being purified. The pain was preparation, not punishment. God has been stretching your faith so that when the covenant bursts open, you can hold its weight without breaking. Every step you've taken through uncertainty has been part of the awakening. Each yes you've given to God in secret has strengthened the chain of destiny, connecting you to heaven's design. You are carrying more than dreams, you are carrying legacy. But understand this, beloved, the covenant is not passive. It requires participation. You cannot simply hope for fulfillment. You must partner with heaven through obedience. When you choose righteousness over convenience, when you forgive instead of retaliate, when you worship instead of worry, you are keeping the covenant alive. Every act of faith breathes oxygen into divine promises. This Saturday, as heaven moves, expect generational locks to break. Expect old burdens to lift, debts to dissolve, relationships to realign. God is not just blessing you, He's redeeming everything attached to your name. Those who once doubted your calling will witness undeniable evidence of divine favor. The same mouth that whispered, "They will never rise," will soon say, "Only God could have done this." You are stepping into a season where heaven reintroduces you, not as the wounded one, not as the forgotten one, but as the heir of covenant promise. The oil on your life is not new. It is ancient. It flows from generations of divine intention. That's why the warfare was intense. The enemy saw not just you, but everything your rising would awaken. Chosen one, your obedience is unlocking more than personal blessing. It is opening doors for those who come after you. Your children, your family, your future generations will walk paths made straight by the prayers you pray today. You are breaking cycles by standing where others fell. You are turning pain into prophecy. Now, take this moment and seal what's stirring in your spirit. In the comments, type 888, a prophetic number representing new beginnings and eternal promise. Do it as a declaration that the covenant is awake, alive, and active in your life. When you write it, you are aligning your agreement with heaven's decree that it is time. Let your spirit rest in this truth. What God promised has not expired. It has been waiting for faith, for courage, for you. The covenant awakens, and with it, the story of redemption moves forward through your very breath. You can feel the tension in the air now, can't you? Chosen one, the spiritual pressure that wraps around you like a storm waiting to break. Do not fear it. It is not chaos, it is the battlefield of faith. You are not under attack because you are weak, you are under attack because you are dangerous to darkness. Every tremor in your spirit signals that something holy is about to emerge. You were never meant to drift quietly through life. You were born to stand in the middle of conflict and release light. That's why you've faced resistance in places others walk freely. The weight pressing against you is proof of the power within you. Darkness always surrounds what it cannot control. You've probably wondered why the fight became so personal, why certain people turned against you, why situations became heavier the moment you chose obedience. It's because obedience carries authority, and authority provokes opposition. When you decided to walk with God, the forces of hell took notice. But take comfort. Chosen one resistance only rises where revelation is real. The battlefield of faith is not waged with weapons made of steel, but with conviction, persistence, and prayer. It is fought in quiet moments when no one sees the tears you hide. It is the war between what God said and what reality seems to show. The enemy's greatest weapon has always been illusion, whispering that you've lost when heaven is only preparing to reveal your victory. We are reminded through the writings of Paul in the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." This verse is your clarity in the chaos. Your battle is not with people, circumstances, or emotions. It's with invisible systems that tremble when you pray. The warfare around you is confirmation that you are advancing. If you were standing still, the enemy would leave you alone. But the moment you began to move in divine purpose, opposition appeared. You are not losing, you are learning. Every challenge has been a classroom, teaching you how to wield faith like a sword. Each hardship has been sharpening your discernment, showing you how to fight without fear. You've discovered that not every storm requires your reaction. Some simply require your endurance. There will be moments when you feel weary, when the weight seems unbearable. That's when you must remember who walks beside you. You are never outnumbered when heaven is on your side. The same angels that guarded Daniel in the lion's den, the same host that surrounded Elisha on the mountain, stand with you now. You are never alone on this battlefield. The truth is, you were made for this kind of war. Your spirit was forged in the fires of adversity. Your anointing didn't come from comfort, it was born from conflict. Every scar is proof that you survived what was meant to destroy you. And now, those scars have become your credentials in the kingdom. There is a moment in every battle when the warrior stops questioning why the fight began and starts remembering what they're fighting for. You are fighting for promise, for legacy, for light. You are standing in the gap for lives that may never know your name, but will walk in the freedom your prayers have purchased. That is why heaven calls you chosen. Sometimes victory doesn't look like triumph. Sometimes it looks like endurance. You win when you refuse to quit. You win when you keep believing, even when you don't understand. You win when you wake up and say, "I'm still here." The enemy's goal was never to stop your blessing, it was to silence your belief. But you are still believing, still standing, still shining. That is victory. Remember this, every battle you fight is also a revelation of what you carry. The greater the warfare, the greater the glory waiting on the other side. The opposition you face now is proportionate to the destiny you are about to enter. So, don't resent the battle, respect it. It's proof that heaven has trusted you with something worth fighting for. Chosen one, take courage. When the warfare feels unbearable, lift your eyes higher. The one who called you has already declared the outcome. The cross was not just an act of salvation, it was a declaration of victory that echoes through your every trial. You fight from triumph, not toward it. And when you feel the weight pressing harder, whisper to yourself, "This is not the end, this is evidence." Evidence that light still burns in you. Evidence that your faith still shakes darkness. Evidence that you are becoming what heaven always saw in you. Hold your ground, warrior of light. The battle is fierce, but the crown is certain. Chosen one. Now the pattern begins to reveal itself. The very moments you thought were chaos start to make sense in the light of divine design. Every loss, every turn, every closed door, it was all part of a higher equation that heaven wrote long before you could understand it. You have reached the part of the story where heaven's strategy begins to unfold. You see, while you were busy surviving, heaven was building. God was moving pieces you didn't even know existed. The conversations you overheard, the people who walked away, the dreams that died, all of it was data in the hands of the divine strategist. What felt like dismantling was actually divine rearranging. He was clearing your path, not cursing it. The hand of God moves differently than human logic expects. Where we see failure, He sees foundation. Where we feel rejection, He is making redirection. You weren't losing when they left. You were being liberated from what could not go where you're going. Heaven was pruning your circle to preserve your calling. It's not cruelty, it's clarity. God never wastes pain. Every scar carries strategy. The nights that broke you built in you the strength to lead others out of the same darkness. You learned how to breathe under pressure because your assignment will require it. What once hurt you is now the weapon that heals others. Nothing was wasted, everything was woven. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 21, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. You had plans, dreams, and timelines, but heaven had purpose. And when purpose speaks, plans must bow. The dreams you thought failed weren't failures, they were foundations for a higher manifestation. You didn't lose them, they transformed. The purpose of God doesn't always destroy what you build. Sometimes it rebuilds what you thought was ruined. Do you remember the times you begged for something that never happened? You thought God said no. But in truth, He said, "Wait until it's right." Divine timing often disguises itself as disappointment. You were not denied, you were delayed for design. If you had received what you wanted too early, it would have crushed you instead of crowned you. Heaven's strategy is built on foresight. While you see the present, God orchestrates the unseen. You didn't realize that the detours you hated were keeping you from traps. You were spared more pain than you'll ever know. The wrong friendships that ended were divine rescues in disguise. The job that fell through, it was never provision, it was distraction. God was not taking from you. He was making room for what carries eternal weight. And now, you are beginning to see it. Things that once confused you now connect like puzzle pieces. The ache that once made you question your faith now fuels it. You understand that God's silence wasn't absence, it was strategy. He was teaching you how to trust the unseen. How to follow the whisper even when the map was blank. Chosen one. Heaven's strategy is always patient. It doesn't rush to prove a point. It builds quietly, layers purpose beneath pain, and allows revelation to rise only when your spirit is ready. You were never behind. You were in training. You had to unlearn impatience so you could handle inheritance. Sometimes the strategy of God looks like loss because he removes before he restores. The pruning hurts, but the fruit that follows is sweeter than anything you imagined. You will soon look back and thank God for unanswered prayers, for doors that closed, for people who left, for seasons that forced you to grow roots. Every no you endured protected your yes to destiny. This is how heaven works. It does not waste motion. Every detail matters. Every moment carries instruction. Every step is intentional. You didn't stumble into your purpose. You were guided into it. Even the pain served as direction. Even the tears watered the ground where promise will bloom. So stand still. Chosen one. Don't rush to rewrite what heaven is still perfecting. The strategy is still unfolding. Trust the unseen choreography. You are standing in the divine intersection of everything that once broke you and everything that's about to bless you. Soon you will say, "Now I understand." You'll see that every season served you. Every delay was divine alignment. Every detour was destiny's shortcut. And in that moment, you'll finally rest, not because the path was easy, but because you'll know it was always guided. Heaven's strategy has never failed, and it never will. You are not a mistake wandering through chaos. You are a masterpiece moving through design. Something is shifting. Chosen one. The air around you feels charged, like thunder gathering before rainfall. Heaven's movements are becoming visible in subtle ways, the timing of messages, the repetition of certain words, the sudden clarity in your spirit when you least expect it. This is no coincidence. This is the prophetic countdown beginning to unfold. Heaven has a rhythm, and when that rhythm begins to accelerate, those who are tuned to the Spirit feel it first. You are feeling it now. The clock of destiny has started ticking louder in your soul, reminding you that divine promises are not abstract. They are appointments written in eternity, waiting for obedience to meet them. You have entered the threshold where time and prophecy collide. Each hour you live in faith brings you closer to manifestation. Heaven's calendar has been turning silently. But now, the alarm of purpose rings through your spirit. It is no longer the season of waiting, it is the hour of recognition. The prophet Habakkuk once wrote words that echo through every generation of faith. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "The vision waits for its time, though it tarries. It will come." Chosen one. This is your appointed time. The countdown isn't toward disaster, it's toward divine delivery. What you have prayed for, fought for, cried for, it is aligning now. You may not see the full picture yet, but heaven has already released the instruction. You are standing in prophetic acceleration. In this hour, confirmations will multiply. You will hear the same message repeated from different voices. Read the same phrase in unexpected places. Dream the same theme again and again. Pay attention. Heaven is marking your path with divine breadcrumbs so you cannot miss your moment. But understand this, the countdown also requires consecration. The closer you get to the promise, the more careful you must be. The distractions that used to entertain you will now irritate you. The conversations that once amused you will now drain you. God is narrowing your focus because distraction at this point could delay what is already in motion. You are in the space between revelation and realization. This is the most sacred interval, the space where faith is tested and vision is purified. It's tempting to rush, but every step must match heaven's pace. God is not only preparing the blessing, He's preparing you to hold it. This is why time has felt different lately. Days seem to blur. Nights feel longer. Yet your spirit senses something close. The waiting feels heavier because the release is near. Heaven's countdown is never random. It's mathematical in precision. The angels assigned to your destiny are already shifting the pieces into place. Chosen one, don't confuse delay with denial. God is not late. He's strategic. The countdown isn't measuring how long you've waited, it's measuring how ready you've become. Each moment of surrender shortens the distance between promise and manifestation. Each act of obedience adjusts the timing of divine release. There's a reason the tension feels both holy and heavy. Prophecy is pregnant inside you. You're carrying something that heaven is eager to reveal through you. The contractions you feel, those bursts of spiritual pressure, are not punishment, but preparation. The world is about to witness the birth of what you've been nurturing in secret. So, when confusion tries to creep in, whisper to your soul, the countdown continues. Every challenge, every closed door, every tear is still part of divine timing. Nothing is off schedule when heaven is conducting the clock. You may feel like you're standing still, but in the unseen, movement abounds. Things are shifting on your behalf, names being mentioned in rooms you've never entered, hearts being softened toward your favor, opportunities circling closer like stars returning to orbit. This is divine choreography at work. Chosen one. The countdown does not end in silence, it ends in sound. The sound of fulfillment, the sound of breakthrough, the sound of heaven rejoicing that another prophecy has taken form in the earth. And when it happens, you'll realize that every moment of uncertainty was necessary to train your faith for the glory now revealed. So pause right here, take a breath, and seal this moment with your declaration. In the comments, type, "I'm ready." Do it not as an act of impatience, but as a statement of agreement. When you write it, you're telling heaven, "I'm aligned. I'm listening. I'm prepared for what you promised." That phrase becomes a key, a prophetic signal that your heart is synchronized with divine timing. The countdown has begun. Beloved, do not fear the ticking clock. It is not running out, it is running toward you. Every second draws the promise closer. Stand still in faith, for the vision will not delay. Heaven's timing is perfect, and it has chosen you as the vessel for its unveiling. Chosen one. The time for hesitation has passed. You have crossed the line between prophecy and performance. Heaven has called your name too many times for you to pretend you did not hear. Now, it's time to stand in position. No more shrinking. No more questioning if you're worthy. No more waiting for someone else to confirm what God already declared. The call has been issued. Heaven is saying, take your place. When soldiers are summoned to the battlefield, they do not debate their strength, they trust their training. You, too, have been trained by trials, molded by silence, refined by fire. Every struggle has been preparing you for this hour. You have learned the art of resilience. You have learned how to stand when everything in you wants to fall. That's why heaven trusts you now. Stand in position. Chosen one. Your posture matters, not just your outer stance, but the position of your heart. God isn't asking for performance, He's asking for presence. He's asking you to show up fully, heart open, faith steady, eyes fixed on Him, because this moment is not about being perfect, it's about being available. We find in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9, "Be strong and courageous. The Lord is with you always." That command wasn't just for Joshua, it echoes through the ages for every warrior of light who dares to stand where others bow. It's for you, the one who's been through fire but still believes. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's obedience in spite of it. And today, heaven is asking for your courage. Standing in position means refusing to run back to comfort. It means staying steady when the winds shift. It means holding your faith even when logic trembles. The enemy wants you to doubt, to step out of place before the blessing arrives. But don't move from the ground of faith. You've come too far to retreat now. You are stepping into divine formation, just like an army aligns before victory. Heaven is aligning you with purpose. You are not out of place, you are perfectly positioned. The people you've met, the places you've been, the lessons you've learned, none of it was random. Every detail was divine choreography, leading you to this exact intersection of readiness and revelation. Chosen one, this is your hour of authority. You don't need to beg for favor, you carry it. You don't need to fear opposition, you're surrounded by angelic backup. You have permission to walk boldly into rooms where you once felt small, because now you understand who sent you. The doors that once intimidated you will open because they recognize divine assignment when it arrives. There is power in your presence when you stand where heaven placed you. Demons tremble when you stop doubting yourself. Shadows scatter when your light stops apologizing for existing. You are not being called to hide, you are being commanded to rise. But standing in position also means humility. The posture of power is not arrogance, it's surrender. The strongest warriors are those who kneel first before God. Let your strength come from reverence, your boldness from intimacy, your confidence from communion. The more you lean into His voice, the steadier your steps will become. Now, let's speak heart to heart. If these words are stirring something deep inside you, it's because heaven is confirming your readiness. This isn't about emotion, it's about alignment. God is setting things in order within you so He can move through you. And when you respond in faith, you give heaven permission to release what's been held back for your appointed season. So, I'll ask you gently, sincerely, if this message has found its home in your heart. Take a moment to acknowledge it. Like this message, not as an act of vanity, but as a sign of agreement with heaven's plan. Share it with someone who may be losing courage right now. Someone who needs to be reminded that they are not forgotten in the chaos. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, not just to stay connected to this space, but to stay connected to the flow of divine words that are building your faith week by week. We are walking this journey together, each revelation a step closer to transformation. Standing in position means more than standing still. It means being ready, ready to obey, ready to move when God says move, ready to speak when He gives the word. You are not waiting for the next miracle. You are the miracle in motion. The world doesn't need another echo, it needs your voice, firm and filled with faith. Chosen one, lift your head, square your shoulders, and stand tall in the light of your calling. You are exactly where heaven wants you to be. Don't underestimate what happens when a willing heart meets divine timing. Heaven has already taken its position now. It's your turn. The air has grown quiet again. Chosen one, the clamor of battle is fading, and the ground beneath you hums with the aftershock of what has already been won. You may feel a strange stillness, a pause in motion, as though heaven itself has taken a deep breath. This is the silence before the sound, the holy interval between completion and manifestation. Every divine promise carries a rhythm. First comes the call, then the battle, then the silence that seems to stretch like an eternity. It is in that silence that heaven measures trust. Can you remain faithful when there is no visible sign of victory? Can you believe in a whisper when the echo of God's last word fades into stillness? This moment is sacred because silence reveals truth. When noise fades, the real state of your heart surfaces. Some see silence as absence, but the wise know it's incubation. The miracle isn't gone, it's gestating. The sound of fulfillment hasn't vanished, it's gathering force. God doesn't speak because he has nothing to say. He stays silent because the word he already gave is still working. As the apostle reminds us in his letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap, if we do not lose heart." Chosen one, you are standing in that due season. It's not visible yet, but it's closer than your doubt would have you believe. The silence is not the end of the story. It's the moment the author pauses before writing the next line. You've walked through battles that left scars. You've prayed prayers that seemed to bounce off the ceiling. And now, you've come to this quiet place, unsure whether to rest or reach. Let your soul rest. Heaven is not ignoring you, it's arranging your unveiling. What you cannot see is that angels are still moving. Though the sound of their wings has softened, silence is where faith matures. It teaches you to hear in new frequencies, to discern what cannot be spoken aloud. The stillness that feels like delay is actually calibration, your heart syncing with divine timing. The same God who spoke universes into existence with a single command can accomplish more in his quietness than in all the noise of human effort. In this still moment, God is teaching you to recognize his voice beyond volume. Sometimes, his presence doesn't come in thunder or fire, but in a gentle whisper. You are being trained to sense his movement in the unseen. This is the kind of faith that cannot be shaken because it's not built on signs, it's built on certainty. Look closer. Chosen one. You'll notice small signs around you, peace replacing panic, rest returning to your mind, thoughts aligning in ways they never did before. These are hints that manifestation is near. Heaven often gives subtle confirmations before major breakthroughs. The world may not notice them, but your spirit does, because it has been attuned through trial. Don't rush this moment. Silence is not stagnation, it's saturation. The soil of your soul is absorbing everything it needs to produce what God promised. Like seeds buried in the earth, your prayers are germinating in darkness, ready to break through the surface. If you dig them up too soon, you'll interrupt the growth. Trust the process. This stillness is not a void, it's a womb. What feels like nothingness is actually the creation of something new. Heaven hides its greatest works behind quiet seasons because glory grows best in secret. You've been hidden for a reason to emerge in the fullness of time, radiant, ready, and resolute. Do not misinterpret divine stillness as neglect. Even Jesus faced a silent heaven before the resurrection. Between the cross and the empty tomb was a day where heaven said nothing, but everything was being rearranged. The unseen realm was alive with victory, though the world saw only silence. You are in that kind of moment right now. Chosen one. This silence is holy. It is the resting pulse of heaven before the next symphony begins. Stand firm. Do not try to fill the quiet with fear or doubt. Sit with it. Breathe in it. Let it teach you to wait without wavering. Let it refine your hearing until even heaven's whisper feels like thunder. And when the sound returns, and it will not be a faint echo. It will be a roar of fulfillment so strong that everything dormant will awaken. The sound of answered prayers will break the stillness. The sound of purpose realized will flood your world. And when it does, you will understand why the silence was necessary. For now, simply hold your peace. The composer of creation is tuning instruments unseen, preparing to release the melody of your miracle. The pause before the music is not the end, it's the promise of a song too divine to be rushed. Chosen one. Heaven is no longer still. The silence that once wrapped around your journey is beginning to stir with movement. The unseen realm is alive, vibrating with purpose, echoing with assignment. What was whispered in the dark is now being organized in light. The angelic assembly is moving. There are times when heaven sends a single messenger, but there are also moments when the weight of divine promise requires an entire host. This is one of those moments. The angels assigned to your life are not idle. They have been waiting for your alignment, your surrender, your yes. Now that you've stepped into obedience, the command has been issued: go. Assist the chosen. You may not see them, but their presence surrounds you like fire. You feel it in the unexplainable peace that follows prayer, in the sudden strength that floods your spirit when you should be exhausted. Angels are not myths, they are heaven's couriers, carriers of divine intent. And right now, they are executing orders written with your name. Scripture says in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 11, "For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways." Those words were not poetry, they were prophecy. The angels of the Lord are not abstract ideas. They are living flames of obedience. They move at the sound of God's voice and respond to the faith of his chosen. When you pray, they act. When you worship, they war. When you speak truth, they strengthen your atmosphere. Heaven is strategic, and its armies move with precision. Some are dispatched to open doors that human hands cannot. Others are sent to silence voices of accusation. Still, others bring divine resources into alignment: funds, favor, connections. What you've been waiting for is already in transit, carried by unseen hands across the timeline of your destiny. Chosen one. Your obedience has authorized this movement. Angels do not respond to fear, they respond to faith. That's why your prayers have shifted from begging to believing. You no longer ask timidly, you declare boldly. And heaven mirrors that boldness. The louder your faith becomes, the faster angelic movement flows. There are angels of restoration being released to rebuild what was torn. Angels of healing hovering near you, touching old wounds, physical and spiritual alike. angels of revelation standing ready to unveil answers that once seemed hidden behind clouds. You may not see them with your eyes, but your spirit recognizes their nearness, every hair on your arm raised in holy recognition. This is why strange coincidences are beginning to unfold, emails arriving at just the right moment, people returning from your past with renewed purpose, divine ideas striking you in your sleep. It's not luck. It's logistics, heaven's version of delivery. Everything you need for the next phase of your assignment is being escorted into place. The enemy has noticed this movement too, which is why distractions have tried to multiply. But do not fear, the same fire that guards heaven's throne now surrounds your destiny. No curse can trespass what angels protect. You are heavily guarded, spiritually insured by the covenant of blood and the promise of grace. When you step into places of uncertainty, remember, you never walk in alone. The ground trembles under divine company. The angels that move with you are not silent, they sing. They war. They declare your victory before the first step is taken. Every road you travel is pre-cleared by heaven's authority. Some will sense this shift when they meet you. They won't understand why your presence carries peace, why conversations around you feel lighter. It's because the atmosphere of your life is crowded with glory. The unseen assembly moves with you like a royal escort. You are never isolated. You are accompanied by the architecture of eternity. Now, seal this truth in your spirit. This is your confirmation that the unseen is active. You are not waiting for help to arrive. It's already here. The winds of heaven are in motion, and every angel assigned to your lineage is responding to the sound of purpose rising in you. Take a moment of faith and agreement. In the comments, type 4,444. This number symbolizes the movement of angelic order and divine establishment. It is a declaration that heaven's hosts are surrounding, protecting, and aligning your life with perfect precision. When you write it, do so not as superstition, but as synchronization, as an act of spiritual awareness that you are not alone. Chosen one. The sky above you is crowded with light. The air around you hums with unseen wings. What was once silent is now alive with motion. The angelic assembly is moving, and you are walking beneath its protection. Every promise is now under escort. Every prayer under supervision. You are surrounded, guarded, guided, and the miracle is already in flight. Chosen one. The air feels heavier now, doesn't it? You can sense that something sacred is happening, not outside of you, but within. The light that once flickered now burns with fierce intensity. Yet before gold shines, it must face the fire. This is that moment for you, the season where the flame of refinement touches everything that remains impure. You have entered the fire that tests gold. Fire has never been sent to destroy the chosen. It comes to define them. The difference between glass and gold is not beauty, it's endurance. Both can shine, but only one survives the furnace. God is not trying to harm you. He is proving what you're made of. Every heat, every hardship, every burning trial is heaven saying, there is more strength in you than you know. You've probably felt it already, the tension, the intensity, the things you used to rely on suddenly melting away. The people you leaned on are no longer there. The comforts that once calmed you no longer satisfy. It feels like everything stable is shifting. And that's exactly the point. Fire doesn't leave idols standing. It consumes everything that competes for your heart. You will look back on these flames one day and realize they were mercy in disguise. What you thought was loss was really liberation. Every burning moment is a divine reset, stripping away the temporary so the eternal can breathe again inside you, brighter, freer, unshakably pure. The prophet Zechariah recorded it clearly in the holy writings. Chapter 13, verse 9, I will bring that third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. Chosen one, God is answering you through fire. It's not a cruel process, it's a sacred one. When He allows the flames to rise, it's not abandonment, it's attention. He is closer in the fire than anywhere else. The same presence that walked with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego walks with you now. The fire that terrifies others becomes your testimony. The flames you face are not random, they're revealing. The pain exposes what was pretending to be peace. The pressure reveals what was hidden beneath surface strength. In the heat of adversity, masks melt and motives are purified. You are not losing yourself, you are finding your truest form. The fire teaches what comfort never could. It strips away false dependencies and reveals how much heaven has already equipped you with. When everything else is gone, and all that remains is your faith, you finally realize it was always enough. There are two things that happen when the fire tests the chosen: what is fake burns, and what is true shines. The words, the faith, the calling, all of it becomes radiant. People may not recognize you after this season, because you won't sound the same. The timid tone will be replaced by confidence. The hesitation will give way to holy boldness. You will emerge glowing with the evidence of endurance. Chosen one, do not curse this season of heat. Praise through it. Worship in it. Fire cannot consume what is eternal, it only polishes it. What feels like loss is purification. What feels like chaos is construction. God is not setting you on fire to destroy your identity. He's revealing your authenticity. The refining process also separates you from what was never meant to stay. There are connections, habits, even old versions of yourself that cannot cross this threshold. You will notice how certain things begin to fall away naturally. Don't chase them. Let them go. The flame of destiny burns away what comfort refuses to release. When gold emerges from the furnace, it does not apologize for its shine. It simply reflects the light that purified it. That will be you soon, reflecting heaven with every word, every decision, every breath. Your endurance is becoming your authority. The weight you once dreaded will soon become the evidence of your divine maturity. This fire will not last forever. Every furnace has an appointed time, but the mark it leaves will last eternity. You will carry the glow of this encounter wherever you go. Others will sense it before you speak, the fragrance of someone who survived holy fire and lived to tell the story. Chosen one, the fire is not your enemy. It is your consecration. It is heaven's way of saying, you are ready for greater. Let the flames do their work. Let them burn away the residue of doubt, the ashes of fear, the fragments of the old self. On the other side of this refining, you will not be the same, and that is the miracle. You are not in destruction, you are in definition. The heat that surrounds you is heaven's signature upon your soul. And when you emerge from this furnace, you will know the gold was there all along. The fire simply revealed it. Chosen one, you have reached the threshold of manifestation. The waiting, the fire, The refining it all leads here. You have walked through shadows and storms, held your faith when it trembled, and now the air around you vibrates with the weight of arrival. The miracle touches earth. Heaven is no longer whispering about what is coming, it is moving through you, around you, and for you. When divine promise collides with human obedience, the natural bends under the supernatural. The unseen begins to materialize. What once existed only in vision now takes form in front of you. The same voice that said, "Let there be light," now speaks over your circumstances, and creation must respond. You are not waiting for the miracle to happen. You are walking into the reality it has already built. Miracles are not random acts of mercy. They are precise demonstrations of divine order. They occur at the intersection of faith and obedience. When heaven moves, it does so through alignment. And chosen one, you are aligned. Your heart, once fractured by disappointment, now beats in rhythm with divine purpose. The ancient words recorded in the Gospel of John, chapter 11, verse 40, ring true in this moment. Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God? This is not just scripture, it's your confirmation. You are about to see what belief has built behind the veil. The prayers that once seemed unanswered are returning, not empty, but full, overflowing with the evidence of heaven's faithfulness. Every not yet is turning into now. When the miracle touches earth, it rarely arrives in the way you expect. Sometimes it doesn't shout, it simply shifts. You might not see thunder or lightning, but you will feel peace in places where there was pain, clarity in corners once clouded by confusion. Miracles begin subtly before they shine publicly. Heaven likes to whisper its wonders before it reveals them to the crowd. Chosen one, you have reached the divine collision point. The spiritual and the physical are merging in your favor. What was once impossible begins to yield. Obstacles turn into openings. Delays dissolve. You will sense the flow of grace moving through everything connected to you, your relationships, your finances, your dreams, even your atmosphere. The miraculous does not just visit, it transforms. The world may call it coincidence, but your spirit knows better. The alignment of moments, the reappearance of opportunities, the timing too perfect to explain, these are heaven's fingerprints. Miracles leave evidence, but never confusion. What God does will always draw you closer to peace, never chaos. There are miracles that appear as sudden reversals. A door swings open, a prayer is answered overnight. But there are also quiet miracles, the kind that unfold gently, like dawn stretching across the horizon. Whether loud or silent, your miracle carries the same truth: God remembered you. Sometimes the miracle isn't even about what you receive, but who you become while waiting. Faith has carved a deeper vessel within you, and now heaven pours into it abundance that will not break you. The strength you built through struggle becomes the very foundation that sustains your new season. You will know the miracle has touched earth when peace replaces panic, when your sighs turn into songs, when what used to wound you now becomes a weapon for healing others. That is how heaven manifests, by transforming pain into purpose. Chosen one, pay attention to the small signs that surround you in this season. The unexpected phone call, the opportunity that feels tailor-made, the conversation that carries divine timing. Each one is a piece of the miracle's unfolding. God's hand moves with elegance, never waste. Every detail has been arranged to remind you This is what you were waiting for. And when it happens, it will feel both sudden and familiar. Sudden because of how swiftly everything aligns. Familiar because deep down, your spirit always knew this moment was coming. You have dreamt of it, prayed for it, prepared for it, even when you didn't realize you were. The miracle touching earth through you will not end with you. Miracles multiply. When one heart witnesses glory, it ignites faith in another. Your breakthrough becomes someone else's blueprint. Your testimony will travel farther than your voice. The world will see light in your story and believe again. This is the beauty of divine fulfillment. It never arrives alone. Every answered prayer sends ripples through generations, shifting atmospheres you may never see. Your obedience today becomes someone else's open door tomorrow. The miracle God performs in you is also a seed He plants through you. So breathe in this moment. Heaven has crossed the threshold. The waiting season bows to manifestation. Every tear that fell in the dark has watered the soil of this dawn. The miracle is not future tense anymore. It is present, living, breathing, visible, chosen one. Lift your gaze. The impossible has bowed. The promise has touched the ground beneath your feet. You are standing in answered prayer. The miracle has landed. Chosen one. But what happens next is even greater than what has just occurred. When heaven releases a miracle, it does not stop at the point of impact. It ripples outward. Light cannot be contained once it has been revealed. You have stepped into the ripple of glory. Every answered prayer, every moment of deliverance, every shift you felt in your soul carries weight beyond your own life. Heaven never performs an act of power that touches only one person. What God has done in you is already moving through the atmosphere around you, touching families, stirring hearts, and rewriting the faith of others who once thought hope had expired. This is how divine glory operates. It multiplies. The miracle you've witnessed is not an ending, but a beginning. You are now a vessel of evidence, living proof that heaven keeps its word. When people look at you, they will see what it means to survive fire and emerge radiant. You are no longer the one who prayed for change. You are the one through whom change flows. The Apostle reminds us in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 18, "With unveiled faces we behold His glory and are transformed into His image." This is what's happening to you right now. You are being transformed from the inside out. Each act of obedience, each moment of worship, each surrender has expanded your capacity for light. Glory does not rest on those who chase it. It rests on those who carry humility in their hearts. You didn't earn this moment, you grew into it. Chosen one. The ripple begins quietly. You will notice how your presence changes rooms. Conversations soften. People who once dismissed you begin to listen differently. Your peace becomes contagious. Your strength magnetic, without even trying. You are teaching others how to trust again. This is what it means to radiate glory, to live so authentically in God's will that your existence becomes ministry. But the ripple doesn't end with influence. It extends into every area connected to you. Dreams that once seemed dormant begin to wake up. Finances stabilize. Relationships heal. Opportunities emerge from unexpected places. It's as though heaven is amplifying every corner of your life so that the fullness of God's promise can be displayed through you. And yet, in the middle of all this blessing, remember to stay grounded. Glory carries weight. but pride corrupts quickly. Always return to the place of gratitude. Keep your heart anchored in worship. The same humility that drew the miracle will sustain its momentum. Your story will soon become a lifeline for others. Someone will hear your testimony and realize that God hasn't forgotten them either. They will see your joy and remember that joy is still possible. They will feel your peace and understand that peace can be restored. You have become heaven's evidence, a walking prophecy of what grace can do. If these words resonate in your spirit, pause and acknowledge what God is doing right now. Let gratitude rise like incense, and when your heart overflows, let it spill into action. Like this message, if it mirrors what you've lived through, do it as a way of saying, "Yes, this is my story too." Share it not for recognition, but because someone else needs to remember that their delay is not denial. A single share could be the spark that awakens faith in someone who's about to give up. And write in the comments how this message speaks to you. Let your words become testimony. Each comment is not just interaction, it's ministry. When others scroll through and read your reflection, they might find the exact phrase their heart has been searching for. Your vulnerability can be their confirmation. If you haven't yet, subscribe. Stay connected to this space where divine words continue to flow. This isn't about building numbers, it's about building believers. Each message that comes here is a continuation of what heaven is already doing in your life. By staying connected, you remain in rhythm with the revelation unfolding before you. Chosen one. The ripple of glory will not fade, it will expand. Every time you tell your story, you extend the reach of heaven's light. Every time you walk in integrity, you strengthen the bridge between faith and manifestation. You are no longer a receiver, you are a releaser. Remember this, what started as your personal miracle will end as a movement of mercy. You are living proof that God still writes new beginnings. Let that truth shine through everything you do, everything you say, and everything you create. The ripple continues, spreading farther than you will ever see, touching hearts you will never meet, carrying your light into corners you'll never walk into. That is the legacy of a chosen one glory that moves, multiplies, and never ends. Chosen one. The light around you has changed. What once flickered uncertainly now burns steady and strong. You have passed through seasons of testing, refining, and revelation. And now you stand on the other side, not broken, but crowned. The journey that once felt endless has reached the summit of divine recognition. This is the moment where heaven bends low to place a crown upon your endurance. You have entered the season of crowned in the afterglow. When a warrior returns from battle, they do not look the same. Their eyes carry stories, their voice carries wisdom, and their steps echo victory. That is you now. You have been through battles both seen and unseen, fought wars within your soul, stood through storms others couldn't survive, and yet you shine, not because the fight didn't wound you, but because the grace that healed you now glows from every scar. Crowning is never just decoration, it is recognition. Heaven does not crown those who escape the fire, but those who remain faithful in it. You did not run when the pressure increased. You stayed. You trusted. You grew. And now, the one who watched your tears in silence brings you into public honor. The oil poured in private has now risen to the surface for all to see. As James, the servant of the Lord, declared in his letter. Chapter 1. Verse 12. Blessed the one who endures trials, he will receive the crown of life. That crown, chosen one, is resting upon you even now. It is not made of gold or jewels, it is made of light. It represents survival, faith, integrity, and love. It is the visible evidence of invisible endurance. You have proven that faith can stand fire, that patience can outlast pain, that hope can rise again after heartbreak. Heaven has seen you and said, "Well done." The afterglow you now carry is more than radiance. It is revelation. People will look at you and feel peace without knowing why. That's because the glory on you is not for display, it's for transfer. Those who stand near you will be healed by the light that radiates from your restoration. The peace you fought for will begin to rest upon others. You are now a living testimony of recovery and redemption. Crowned moments do not happen without cost. Every jewel in your crown represents a battle overcome, a prayer answered, a night survived. You've learned the value of endurance, the quiet strength that refuses to collapse even when no one is watching. Heaven does not hand crowns to the ambitious, it entrusts them to the steadfast. Look back. Chosen one, the very paths that once broke your heart have become your throne room. The tears that soaked your pillow have watered gardens of new beginnings. The isolation that once felt unbearable has transformed into intimacy with the divine. You no longer walk as one searching for approval, you walk as one chosen to carry presence. Crowned seasons are not loud. They are not filled with applause. They are marked by peace, a peace that feels like exhaling after years of holding your breath. You no longer need to prove yourself. You no longer need to chase what's already yours. Heaven's seal is upon you. The waiting has done its work. This crown does not exempt you from responsibility, it empowers you for service. The more light you carry, the more gently you must walk. You are now a custodian of glory, not just a recipient. Everything you touch carries the fragrance of heaven. Your words will now carry more weight. So let them be words of healing. Your silence will hold authority. So let it be filled with discernment. The afterglow of this season is subtle but unmistakable. When you wake, you will feel peace before worry tries to speak. When challenges arise, you will sense wisdom whispering before panic has a chance to grow. You will walk through doors that used to be closed, not because of effort, but because of elevation. The spiritual atmosphere now recognizes who you are, chosen one. Crowns are not for comfort, they are for calling. This new level of grace is not meant to isolate you in pride, but to position you in purpose. You are now a carrier of divine insight. Heaven will use your words to awaken others, your presence to stabilize them, your journey to teach them that survival and sanctification are not opposites, they are companions. The glow that surrounds you is not fleeting. It will not fade when circumstances shift. It is a permanent reminder that God finishes what He starts. The same hand that lifted you from the ashes now rests upon your head in blessing. You are crowned not because you never stumbled, but because you always rose again. In this afterglow, you will find that peace no longer depends on what happens around you. It flows from within. The crown you wear is not just above your head, it's inside your spirit. It is composure under chaos, calm under fire, strength under sorrow. That is the mark of the crowned, the ability to remain unshaken in a shaking world. So walk gently. Beloved warrior, the crown you wear is invisible to most, but undeniable to those who sense truth. Carry it not with pride, but with purpose. For you are no longer merely surviving, you are reigning in grace. Heaven's afterglow rests upon you, and through you, the world will see what it means to be chosen, refined, and crowned. The air feels timeless now. Chosen one, you stand not merely at the end of a journey, but at the beginning of an eternal echo. Everything you have endured, everything you have become, every revelation you have received, none of it fades here. Heaven's story through your life continues to resound across realms. This is the eternal echo. When God speaks a word, it never dies. It vibrates through creation, bouncing off generations, shaping destinies not yet born. And so it is with you. What began as a whisper in your spirit has become a resonance that cannot be silenced. You are not just living in divine promise, you are becoming its echo. The victories you've won are not contained by your lifetime. Every prayer, every act of faith, every surrender sends ripples beyond what your eyes can see. The obedience you offered in secret will become the foundation for miracles in the lives of people who will never know your name. Heaven builds legacies out of lives like yours. The Apostle Paul once wrote in his letter to the Philippians, chapter 1, verse 6, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." Those words are the melody beneath your steps. What God began through you is eternal. It cannot be undone. It cannot be reversed. It cannot be silenced. You are walking proof that the divine plan does not stop at human limits. Even when you are gone, the sound of your faith will linger like a sacred refrain in the atmosphere. This is the power of the chosen ones. They leave resonance. Their lives become living scriptures written in the language of endurance. Every time you chose forgiveness instead of bitterness, you added another verse. Every time you loved when it would have been easier to leave, another line was inscribed. And now, those unseen pages form a book heaven reads with joy. You may think your story is small, but in the kingdom, nothing faithful is ever forgotten. The smallest act of obedience echoes forever. A single prayer whispered in tears becomes the vibration that shakes 1,000 chains in someone else's life. This is the divine economy. Nothing surrendered to God ever disappears. It multiplies in meaning through time. Chosen one, the echo of your obedience travels farther than you can imagine. It moves through dimensions unseen, weaving into the destinies of those still awakening to their call. You may never see the faces of those your light will touch, but heaven already sees the connection. Eternity remembers your courage. This echo also carries restoration. It redeems not only your own story, but the stories of those who came before you, the prayers of your ancestors, the unfulfilled hopes of your family line. They are being completed in you. You have become the living answer to cries that rose generations ago. Through you, old wounds, close and forgotten promises rise again. You have changed the sound of your bloodline. Where there was once despair, now there is declaration. Where there was fear, now there is faith. Your life has become the proof that God remembers. Heaven's echo through you will rewrite the spiritual DNA of everyone connected to your name. And when future generations walk the earth, they will walk on the strength of your yes. They will find doors open that once were sealed. They will feel courage in their bones without knowing where it came from. It will be your echo, your prayers still alive, your faith still resonating, your obedience still unlocking gates you once only dreamed of. This is how heaven measures legacy, not by monuments or applause, but by echoes that refuse to fade. You are not called to be famous, you are called to be faithful. Fame fades with time, but faith resounds through eternity. Every sound of surrender, every whisper of worship, every tear of trust becomes part of heaven's eternal symphony. Chosen one, look around you. The world you once feared is responding differently now. Creation itself recognizes the sound you carry. Nature, time, even circumstance begin to align around your frequency of faith. When heaven echoes through a human soul, all creation listens. You are now part of that harmony, a note that will never be silenced. The eternal echo is not loud, it's lasting. It's the quiet power of a life lived in obedience to divine design. It's the fragrance of grace that lingers after you leave a room. It's the peace that follows your name long after your footsteps fade. It's legacy beyond lifespan. You have become a continuation of heaven's voice on earth. Your story will outlive you, not because of what you built, but because of what you believed. And that belief will keep singing long after your breath returns to glory. Heaven cannot keep silent about what has been completed in you. The silence that once tested you has now transformed into an eternal chorus. Angels repeat your name as testimony, and time bends to honor your endurance. What you birthed through pain will continue to produce fruit through ages yet unseen. So rest now. Chosen one, you have fought well, believed well, loved well. The sound of your life has joined the eternal song, a melody that begins in heaven and never ends. You are no longer just a recipient of promise, you are a living echo of divine completion. And as the heavens resound with your faith, may the earth never stop feeling its vibration. The echo lives on. Chosen one, if these words have reached you, it is not by accident. You have just walked through 17 divine chapters, 17 thresholds of revelation, purification, and awakening. Heaven has whispered, thundered, refined, and crowned you. And now, the message settles not just into your mind, but into your spirit. You are not who you were when you began reading. Something inside you has shifted forever. Pause and breathe. This is your sacred moment of recognition. Heaven is smiling because you didn't just listen, you received. Every section was a seed. And now the garden of your calling begins to bloom. The silence has broken. The promise is alive. And the miracle has already taken form within you. Now let's keep this light flowing. If this journey has touched your spirit, if even one word here stirred your faith or reminded you that you are chosen, I invite you to respond not for vanity, but for victory. Like this message as a personal amen, a visible act of gratitude that tells heaven, I agree. Share it with someone you sense is standing where you once stood in the dark, wondering if God still remembers them. Let them hear through your courage that miracles still move, that promises still breathe. And when you're ready, comment below what resonated with you most. Your words might become the very confirmation another soul needs tonight. Don't underestimate how your reflection can minister to a stranger scrolling by. Finally, if you haven't already, subscribe, not for numbers or fame, but to remain connected to the flow of messages that heaven keeps releasing through this space. We are building not just a following, but a family, a community of light bearers, faith carriers, and modern-day warriors of purpose. Stay steady, radiant one, Heaven's story through you continues.